Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton. I'm here at Apex 2017 in San Diego, and I'm joined by Mark from Prototron. Mark, thanks for stopping by to chat.
Thanks so much.
Start just by telling me a little bit about what makes Prototron different to every other board shop in the world.
That's a very good question. We are heavily front-ended. So we are not a GIGO shop by any means. Many people will send in a design. Some PCB manufacturers may not scrutinize it as well as we do. We have at least 3 pre-engineering folks that are very well versed in signal integrity. I typically grab folks at the stage between the time that the engineer is giving them their marching orders and the design person has actually done their layout.
Right.
So they will literally call us and consult us at the time where they need to have very specific dielectric constant numbers, very specific dielectrics, and a slew of controlled impedances.
Right.
That's one of the very many things that we do have. The other thing is we have well over 30 years cumulative experience in our CAM department.
Right.
So whereas we don't actually offer any design services per se, with the knowledge base that we have and the history of 30 years of dealing with this, we can actually spot something rather quickly and air it out. Additionally, we're going to always ask you for an IPC 356 net list, so we can. That's one of the very first orders of business. We try to make that a very simple process. Designers and engineers typically engineer in an A ground to D ground short. It's very common. People do this all the time. This is something that would precipitate a phone call from a fabricator. We try to make it a foregone conclusion. Things like castellated holes, if you will, or plated half holes along the edge of a board, they scream that they're going to make a connection to a post at some point in their later life. Well, at the point that we're building the bare board, obviously that post doesn't exist. I come up with 16 broken nets. Guess what? There's exactly 16 castellated holes.
There you go.
So again, I can make it more or less a foregone conclusion. We try to make the process as easy as possible for our customers. We take anything from the proverbial ballpoint pen on a cocktail napkin all the way to the 26-page Honeywell and Raytheon specs and anything in between.
Yeah, and there is a whole range in between.
Absolutely.
What I'm really interested in with respect to that is how that works when you have to think outside the walls of your facility. So back to the design side with the OEMs, do you work with them? And on the other side of the supply chain, what about the laminate developers, those kind of technology developers that are going to influence your processes? How do you work with them?
Good question. We are integrally involved with all the laminate manufacturers. As you well know, laminate manufacturing processes change. So if you were looking at, say for instance, a data sheet 5 years ago for a particular material Z, and you were using that dielectric constant that they specify at that speed, it may have changed. Processing changes. They go through different lamination processes. They go through different curing processes. Sometimes they're heat cured, sometimes they're pressed. This can result in different dielectrics. Now, the dielectric constant may remain the same, but the pressed dielectric may be vastly different. We had a situation about 5 years ago. One of our material manufacturers had 2 facilities in China, one in Shenzhen and one in Guangdong. They were sending us from both facilities, and they had vastly different cure styles. So I can't take a piece of 1080 that's 3 mils in one case and 2 mils in another case, and I can't begin to predict your impedances or deal with signal integrity if you can't give me sole source. So I had to come here to this very show and sort of beat them up a little bit and say, look, we love your product, but make a choice.
But make one product.
Either send us the stuff from Shenzhen or the stuff from Guangdong, but do not mix this product because I cannot control people's signal integrity by doing that.
And you have to process them differently, and that's not what traceability is all about.
On the other side, the first part of your question, we were talking about what do we do with our customers to try to bring them up to speed. We do a tremendous amount of DFM presentations. Signal integrity DFM presentations. We're integrally involved in our local IPC Designers Council. We have many of our IPC Designers Council meetings right there at Prototron, and we're literally taking it back down to the high school and college level. So I'm spending a lot of time going over to places like University of Washington and doing tutorials for University of Washington. This is the time we want to grab these guys. We make allegiances at the time that they're just coming up in the ranks and learning to be designers and engineers, and it's been a beautiful arrangement because then they're going to call me later on, whether or not a job from them ever comes to fruition, they can still use me as a resource. They can still call me and they can say, hey Mark, I got this question about this job. I got a very unusual reference plane type situation. I want to talk about the controlled field impedance and how to deal with this, or even manufacturing processing constraints. And I can get into that with folks as well.
That's fantastic, and it's great to be the person that's central to that debate, that can take what's going on with the laminate manufacturers, convert that to design data, and help the designers design the right product and design in the right laminate. Mark, thanks for your time.
Thank
Fantastic
you so much.
to talk to you, and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
Appreciate it.